So we have a new moon coming up here. And it's that time is always, a new moon is always when you set an intention for what you want to create. Full moons are setting intention for what you want to let go of. So for the new moon, I want to do a pranayama that is more enlivening. So we talked about this last week. There's pranayamas that are more sympathetic system and more parasympathetic system. So this will be a more sympathetic system practice. So I'll still do a going through the body for relaxation to help quiet the mind. And then we'll do two different pranayamas for this. One is called Kapalabhati. And yeah, we just did it in the yoga practice we were doing, but it's a forceful exhalation. And then the inhalation just happens on its own. So you just focus on the exhale, but you want it in the belly, not up in your shoulders. And here's the very first teacher I ever had explained it the best. Just imagine you're trying to blow a fly out of your nose. And that's exactly what it feels like. The inhale will happen on its own. And then we'll do that 3 different times, lengthening how long we do it from the first time to the third time. But then we'll follow it with a breath called Ujjayi, which is just a full spinal breath. And it's not that reverse breath like we did last week. So it's inhaling up, exhaling down, but you slightly constrict the glottis at the back of your throat. So you're getting like this whisper sound and this sensation at the back of the throat and right at the sinuses. So try both of them. I'll still talk you through it when we get to it, but I want you to just try them both now so that when we get to it. So first, the Kapalabhati.
Are you starting?
I just want them to practice it.
Okay, let's light a candle. Let's shift.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Okay. So, and then just try the other one. So this is the full spinal breath with a slight constriction of the glottis at the back of your throat. So you should hear a little bit of a whisper sound and feel a soft vibration in the throat. Nasopharynx, I guess it is. It's throat and sinuses. So those are the 2 breaths that we'll be doing. And I'll talk you through them when we're doing it, and I'll time how long we're going to do it. Okay. All right, now let's light our candle.
And don't hesitate to ask questions at the end, because the whole purpose of this, as we light our candle, is to recognize that we are all divine. And our breath is divinity, breathing us, life force, ruha. And it can heal us, it can change our energy, it brings us together, it quiets our minds. When we have a quiet body, we have a quiet mind, and we can receive. Kate, you had a question?
Just wanted to clarify, so the sound is when you exhale on that second breath, the sound that you're talking about,
You'll hear it more and feel it more on the exhale when you're first learning it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so just start by sitting tall and closing your eyes. So we'll go through the body first and relax the body to get started. So just take 3 complete breaths from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet. And feel your body settle into your seat. Then take 2 breaths in the third eye, center of the brain. Take a single breath into the space between your eyebrows. And the inner eyes. The nostrils. The throat. Your shoulders. Upper arms. Your elbows. Your wrists. Palms of the hands. Take 2 breaths into the tips of your fingers. And the breath is silent, and you're not trying to deepen it or lengthen it. Single breath, palms. Single breath, wrists. Single breath, elbows. Single breath, shoulders. The throat. The heart. Solar plexus. Navel center. The pelvis. And 2 breaths at the pelvic floor. Single breath in the pelvis. Single breath at the navel. Single breath, solar plexus. Heart center. Throat. Nostrils. Inner eyes. Center between the eyebrows. Center of the brain. Third eye. And then 3 breaths at the crown of the head. Okay, and then just adjust. Not directing the breath in any way, just very organic. And then we'll be starting with Kapalabhati. The first round, we'll do it for about 30 seconds, and then 6 Ujjayi breaths, the full spinal breath. So remember, it's just a forceful exhale. The inhale will happen on its own. You don't have to direct it, and just think about blowing fly out of your nose. So inhale, exhale completely, and then begin. Good, slow it down. And then full spinal breath, Ujjayi. Slight constriction at the back of the throat, so you feel that softness, feel that wave, a little bit of a sound. They describe it as a whisper sound. Okay, then again, just adjust, relax. And then we'll begin our second round. So Ujjayi, and this time it'll be about 45 seconds. So inhale, exhale completely, and begin. Good, slow it down. And then begin Ujjayi, the spinal breath. Feeling a softness and a vibration in the throat at the roof of the mouth. Okay, and then just again adjust, not directing the breath in any particular way. Just effortless, but we're still aware of the breath. We're still aware of the body breathing. Okay, and last round, and this time we'll be doing Kapalabhati for a full minute. If it starts to feel like too much, just stop and then come back in. So inhale, exhale completely, and begin. Okay, slow it down. And then begin Ujjayi. Again, the strongest sensation will be in the throat, the roof of the mouth. 2 more Ujjayi breaths. Inhale and exhale, lengthening. And then just let that go again, not directing the breath in any way. And just notice the body free and clear. Kapalabhati is actually a cleansing technique. So it's like we've cleansed the inner spine of all of the stuff that we carry thought to thought, day to day, just emptying out. But that most energetic sensation is heart, throat, roof of the mouth. So just feel this clear, empty space. Just have an intention for what you'd like to invite in your clear and empty space. And let it come to you. Come from the heart, not the head. And then please bring your hands together in prayer pose. Spread the fingers wide, let the thumbs touch your heart. In me is a light that lights the whole world. It radiates truth, boundless will, action, and knowledge. And the light in me sees, honors, and salutes that light in you. Swaha. You bow your head to your heart, and when you feel ready, come back and open your eyes.
This was the hardest breath for me to learn. Well, this and the Agnisara.
Agnisara.
Yeah. This was really hard for me, because it was hard to keep my mouth closed. And the first time I ever did this was at Prairie with, Rich, and my daughter Lindsay and I were doing it, and it kept falling out of my mouth. And we started laughing so hard, it was like a church scene where we couldn't stop. So I have learned to hone this breath because it's a real powerful breath. It's wonderful to do if you're stressed and you just need to get grounded really quick or release really quick. It's because it's so intentional. And once you learn to harness that specific breath, it's just like carrying around something in your back pocket that you can pull out whenever you need it. So I would encourage you to practice it. And it's hard because, Joan already signed off. She sometimes puts her hand here when she teaches it to us in yin, because it's that inhale. And what I used to be worried about is I wasn't going to get my inhale. But you do. It just, your body knows. And that's another thing. It's really trusting the body. So you're inhaling and then, so you can't see me. It's just a real forceful exhale. And it's a comforting, it's hard.
I think the key thing is to just make sure
You're
you're not using your shoulders.
Mhm.
But yeah. Yeah.
I learned that before that breath. It's called the breath of fire in Kundalini yoga.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is. And it's a cleansing technique. Yeah, right. It's to just clear out stuff, dense stuff, right?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, they probably in Kundalini, they probably have you doing it for a couple of hours. I'm kidding, but much longer.
Yeah, no, some of them do
Yeah.
extended periods. The most I've done with the Kundalini is like a 60-minute Kirtan Kriya. But I used to take some online classes and they taught that. I do have a question about when you were doing the relaxation and you mentioned the third eye, the pineal gland, the center of the brain, and the space between the eyebrows. I thought the third eye is the pineal gland, but they're distinct things. Or could you explain that a bit more?
Yeah, no, it is. I just had a moment of being there and I realized I repeated it. It is the same thing. That was just in
Third eye is
third
the
eye.
pineal gland,
Right.
but then the center of the brain is distinct from that. When you said center of the brain.
And that was, I said center of the brain and then I said third eye, but I meant them as the same thing. That was just an error on my part. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Because I was kind of sinking into it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's because a few years ago, I worked with this energy healer and she said that my pineal gland was blocked. And so she gave me kriyas, like Kundalini kriyas to do to unblock the pineal gland. And
okay.
And part of it was the breath of fire and like an intensive thing for that.
Right. Okay. Well, the going through the different parts, that's called Aharna pranayama. And that's meant to just get you centered and focused and quiet and still. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just in terms of that, I'm quite interested Why only the upper body?
Because we're trying to move prana up. So there, it's called pranavayus. There's apana, which is in the like the pelvic floor, and that's for downward moving prana, and that's for more release. Like I need to let go of stuff. I want to release. In Ayurveda, they even talk about it's like if you're constipated and you want to focus on releasing stuff. Then the navel center, which is Samanavayu, and that's digestion and assimilation, creates more balance. Prana at the heart center is the Pranavayu, and that's for starting to build enthusiasm if you've been like a little depressed or something. And then the throat is more for spiritual awareness. It's called Udanavayu. And then Vyanavayu is, I don't know exactly where I need more prana to be distributed. So I'll do it quarter periphery. So it goes wherever it needs to. So when you're building your sympathetic nervous system, it's up here, right? Because having it lower is more grounding and stabilizing and releasing stuff. And here it's more building like enthusiasm or growth or expansion, right? So these up here is considered more for that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, not as many questions. It's okay. Yeah.
So when you're talking about this upper body pranayama aligned with the new moon, so like, would that be a daily practice in certain phases of the moon, or a certain period of time around the new moon?
A certain period of time around the moon. I'm usually told, and I don't know a lot about astrology. I just have friends who are super into it and are always just sharing stuff with me. But they typically say it's like 3 days, the day before, the day of, and then the day after. Because it's aspiration, like what do I want? What do I want to create? What do I want to bring new into my life? That kind of a thing. Right, and then full moon is my shit comes up and what do I need to let go of, right? So.
And sorry, I'm linking on all the time. And link to that, time of the day. Is there a difference?
Yeah, not really, at least not from my uneducated mind, right? Yeah, I don't know, do you know about that?
For the moon practice?
Yeah, is there a special time?
Well, they always say sunrise or sunset.
Oh, okay.
So I would say because of the energy that's harnessed at that time in the atmosphere.
So I'm gonna kind of jump onto that. Is there any time that you should not do this type of breathing? Like any,
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. Definitely, if you're trying to settle down for the evening and go to sleep, I wouldn't recommend this kind of a breath, more like what we did last week. Yeah, which was more parasympathetic nervous system. But even for that, you can be more specific, like lengthening your exhalations. Have your exhales be twice the length of your inhalation. That would start to prepare you. Also, alternate nostril breathing, making sure your left nostril is open because that's your calm moon side. So yeah, I wouldn't do Kapalabhati or even Ujjayi because it's a heating breath as well before bed. If you want to get yourself to sleep, I wouldn't recommend it.
I have been practicing that alternate nostril breathing this week. It's really it really is intense in the sinus area, and that's where I've been having problems. So thank you for that.
Wonderful, good.
Yeah.
That's really good to hear, Marion. And do you
Mhm.
remember that if you want the moon side, you want this parasympathetic, you start with the left. You want sympathetic, you start with the right and end with the right,
Okay.
just to specify that.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you,
Yeah,
because
that's
I don't
a
know if I was
little,
doing
it's a
it.
little but big.
right, yeah. Want to calm yourself down, it's in
Left.
left, out right, in left, out right. If you want to energize yourself, it's in right, out left, in
Okay.
right, out left, yeah,
Okay. Thank you.
yeah.
Just in terms of that, is it in left, out right, and then do you
In
go
right, out
again?
left.
If you're doing full Nadi Shodhana, it's in one side, out the other, in one side, out the other. Again, depending on what time of day is it, what's the energetic component that you want more, but full Nadi Shodhana is, I would go, okay, because of the time of day, in my right, out my left, in my left, out my right. Right, if I just want to focus on calming down, in left, out right, in left, out right, I just stay with one side, yeah. Or if I just want to be energized, I just stay with the right side, in right, out left, yeah,
So there's basically 1, 2, 3 different ways you can do it.
right, correct. Oh, well, 4, because then you
4,
can do it
yeah,
mentally.
right, and mentally.
Without the right.
So Marianne, are you using the Vishnu Mudra?
No,
Okay,
because I'm not sure I know that correctly.
okay, well, we can teach it.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's take your right hand.
It's always the right
It's
hand.
always the right hand. And just make a fist with all of your fingers. Don't use your thumb. Then keep your index finger and your middle finger there and straighten your ring finger and your pinky. And squeeze them together. Pinky and rings. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then your thumb, now you've got little pincers. Your thumb touches your ring finger. And then slide that down the bridge of your nose. Your thumb will be on your right nostril and your ring finger will be on your left nostril. And you want it just at the flare point, just at the, yeah, where the nostril starts to flare. And then you can block off your left while you inhale right. And then block off your right while you exhale left. Inhale left. Block off left, exhale right. That you can always also just do that mentally too.
And the thing about the pinchers is, this is a universal mudra. And that mudras are really big in the Yoga Sutras, much like the sign of the cross for
Mhm.
Christians. So it puts your body in that space when you recognize it. And the other thing is when you valve back and forth and rest your hand on a pillow, because otherwise it does get tired. You
Okay.
can valve such that you pull the one nostril up to inhale. Do you know what I'm saying? So that you can give your nostril more space as you're inhaling. And then when you're exhaling, you can also kind of pull it up. So you can literally valve that space. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I've never heard that before.
Oh, I do it. Mhm. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, and then the key thing, remember, is index finger stays out of it, because that's your ego.
Ego.
Right, you want your ego out of it, right?
So what duration or how many cycles do you do that, would you say?
You know, I would say it's one of those things where, like Lori was saying, your arm can start to get uncomfortable. So maybe start until your arm gets uncomfortable, rest a little bit and go back again, right? If doing pranayama really for 5 minutes can be unbelievably life-changing, I think. But sometimes you need to work up to 5 minutes too. You guys are a pretty strong group. That doesn't seem to be a problem for you, so I would say at least 5 minutes, and if you're up for it, go to 10, build up maybe to 15, yeah. But then don't forget the space. After you do the pranayama, give yourself time to just be there in that space.
It would be what you would do before a centering prayer sit.
Mm.
Or you do your centering prayer sit, and then you can go into pranayama because you're already almost there.
Mm.
So it really is a beautiful marriage between the practices.
Okay,
Kapalabhati wouldn't be one that I would do before centering prayer. But if something came up in centering prayer, it'd be a great practice to do after, just to kind of cleanse and clear.
thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's an honor.
So